Xbox console is still such a fun console to collect for. I have over 200 games for it, and most of the games are relatively inexpensive to pick up. It's the perfect console for new people coming into game collecting, and it just really takes me back. That opening power, that opening thing that you get there, showcasing that the Xbox has power. It was just such a cool time. Xbox really had a lot going for it. They had The Rock, for crying out loud, hyped up Xbox on stage. It doesn't get any cooler than that. It was just one of those things where you were just awesome. It was just awesome to see that, and it was like you had that feeling of Millhouse when he got to boot up Bone Storm for the first time.
This is great, and all I've done is enter my name, Thrill House.
And when it comes to the software, there's a lot of cool stuff, even stuff that is stuck on the hardware itself, even to this day, like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I know you're going to think, hey, what, Buffy the Vampire Slayer? Yeah, this one in particular is the better of the game. There's also Chaos Bleeds, which is on the original Xbox as well. That one's on PS2 as well. This one is only on the original Xbox and was such a fun game to play through. It had a large member of the cast from the actual television show contributing voices to it, and I just felt like it had a really fun story that tied into the game a little bit better than the next one. Plus, you only just play as Buffy, which I thought was pretty cool. And if you're a fan of the show, you're going to want to pick this game up. And it's not exactly a super cheap game, but it's not really expensive either. You can get it for usually under $20 when you really kind of want to look for it. But yeah, just a really cool game to kind of play through. Like I said, especially if you're a fan of the show, and they really went all out with it. A fun game to play, and one that I always highly recommend to people that are collecting or just looking for games to play that are still fun and relevant even in this day and age. So we know that Rocksteady Studios brought some credibility to the Batman franchise when games used to be really bad that were licensed, but Batman Begins on the original Xbox is actually a pretty well put together game itself, and has a lot of nostalgia for me personally because I just had such a good time playing the game. Now, it's not the best Batman game. I'm not trying to put it in the same category as the Rocksteady games. I'm just saying, if you can come across this game, it's well worth picking up because they did a good job to it, and they also really treated the source material well, and I just think that it plays like a fun Batman game, which maybe comes a little bit as an unexpected surprise to some of you, but I really enjoyed it and thought that it was worth a playthrough, and it's incredibly cheap. You can pick it up for usually $10 or less, which, that's like a sweet spot for some of these original Xbox games. I just have a lot of good times picking up these games. I'm still always on the lookout for cool stuff, and this one definitely makes the list. A game that I'm convinced will never get enough love or recognition is The Chronicles of Riddick: Escape from Butcher Bay. This was such a fantastic game. Yeah, it uses Vin Diesel's real voice and likeness, just like the Riddick movies, and this really showcased what the original Xbox was capable of. Yeah, they did a remaster of the game that came with Dark Athena on the 360 and PS3, but I still love to play through the original on the original Xbox. Such a great experience, such a good aesthetic, the way that they kind of handled this game, the fighting, the stealth, everything to it. The story itself, I think, is well worth playing through if you've ever wanted to kind of experience something like this. I just really don't see stuff like this done too much anymore these days, but I have a lot of fun playing through this game, a lot of fond memories as well. If you guys have ever played through it, let me know and tell me what you think, or maybe if you guys would love to see another one in the series, because I love it. Even though the Splinter Cell games weren't really exclusive to Xbox, I think everybody kind of pictures them as Xbox exclusive because Xbox Live made them such a fun and exciting thing to do. Now, Splinter Cell Chaos Theory, very good game, looks incredible still on original Xbox hardware, and is a fun story to actually kind of go through and play. Again, Tom Clancy was going hard on the original Xbox, and Splinter Cell Chaos Theory is one of my favorite Splinter Cell games to actually kind of go through. As you can see, the game itself holds up incredibly well if you're looking for that kind of stealth action. And there's multiple Splinter Cell games on the original Xbox. I believe there are 4 Splinter Cell games on the original Xbox, and all of them are pretty well done. I happen to prefer Chaos Theory, but, like I said, you can't really go wrong with any of the Splinter Cell games. Really just well done stuff and a lot of fun to collect for. Inexpensive to boot. Recently I just finished the new Indiana Jones game on Xbox Series X, and I absolutely loved it. And it kind of made me want to go back and watch the movies again, the original movies, mind you, not the newer ones. But it made me want to go back and watch the movies, and it made me want to go back and play Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb on the original Xbox, which is such a fun game. By the way, this game is backwards compatible on the Xbox Series X and Xbox One and all that kind of stuff, so it's really cool. The other cool thing is that it looks better thanks to being played on the better hardware, and not only does it look better, but it also is full screen, which is really good to see, the widescreen playability of these older games. Yeah, a lot of fun, kind of a classic indie feel, more of the third person kind of game that some people originally thought the new game was going to be. Although I gotta say, I love the new game. I love this game. Indiana Jones is such a vibe. Love playing through these games, and you will too. So Conker Live and Reloaded is such a fantastic game, especially if you're familiar with the franchise. Hard to really call it a franchise, but this was a game made by Rare back in the day. Originally it came out on a Nintendo 64, and it was ported and enhanced for the original Xbox after Microsoft bought Rare, and they had an online component for it, which has now since been shut off, obviously. But hey, this game is backwards compatible on the newer consoles as well, and it's like a foul-mouthed squirrel. He's a drunken squirrel. As you can see, at the beginning of the game, he's totally hungover and drunk, and he likes to party. He's kind of womanizing, and this is something that we wouldn't see these days. You know what I mean? Obviously somebody somewhere would find something offensive about this, but back then there was no such stuff like that going on. It was just a fun drunk squirrel, and this game is just so much fun to kind of play through. Listen, it's a laugh riot when you're fighting the Mighty Pooh. Enjoy it for what it is, have a laugh for a change, and just thank me later. One of the most underrated games, I think, on the original Xbox is Brute Force, and I have a good time playing through it. I mean, it's janky, it's not exactly what I consider to be an amazing game per se, but it is just such a fun game for me anyway, just because I just have really good memories of playing through it, and I just think the gameplay is kind of fun, and it's over the top, and something that you don't see too much of these days. Again, I pine for the good old days back when we used to get a lot of games that would kind of take risks and things like that, and it's not reinventing the wheel by any means, but just a fun little game to kind of jump into and play and have some fun with. And I think that's what is missing a lot for me nowadays, is that I just miss that ability to kind of have a game to just boot up and just play with, and you can just be smiling from ear to ear the whole time you play it. Yeah, it's, like I said, it's not great. It's janky, the controls are kind of wonky, whatever the case may be, but it's still just a fun game. I mean, fun was the key element back in the day, and this one's fun. Yeah, the original Xbox had some really epic RPGs, but none more epic, in my opinion, than the Fable game. And again, it's kind of in good company, because there's a lot of RPGs on the original Xbox. You can obviously look to Elder Scrolls, and you can look at stuff like KOTOR 1 and 2 and Jade Empire, obviously, but I really loved Fable, and I know it missed the mark for some people because they promised so much and didn't really deliver everything that they had come to promise. But still, for me, such an epic experience, such a great game, and I just love the story behind it and the over-the-top humor, and you have to really kind of be into that, but I just thought it's a really well-done, complete RPG, and that's what I like best about it. It doesn't overstay its welcome, it's not bloated with a bunch of stuff, but it's just a fun game to kind of play and kick back and enjoy a kick-ass story to, and I think we don't get enough of those these days. So next up is a game that I seldom heard talked about, which is a game called Black, a first-person shooter. And, this game kind of came out at the tail end of the original Xbox. And so maybe it wasn't as looked upon as, a great game. Sometimes it's easy to overlook games when that happens. But I have to say, it's quite a fun game to pick up. It's intuitive. It's got good controls. It looks good. It looks and it plays great, like I said. So if you ever come across it, it's an easy game to kind of recommend. And if you're familiar with like first-person shooters, then it's definitely a game where you'll be able to pick it up and kind of know exactly what to do, and you're not going to really mistake this for anything else because it's its own thing. But I have such a good time with it, and I'm sure you will too. Fun game, and that's the most important thing. Xbox has a lot of fun games, and this one doesn't disappoint. So there you have it, a incredible list of original Xbox games that you can pick up and play. A lot of fun to be had there. I wanted to keep the list a little bit shorter because at the end of the day I can get more videos out if they're a little bit shorter in length, and the quality is still there. So if there's a list of games that you would like to see or a particular platform, please let me know. And if you guys would be so humble and great as to like the video and possibly consider subscribing, I'll catch you guys next time. Until then, have fun gaming.